We're stepping into the most terrifying chapters of Native American history. Many tribes held power, but 5 were feared above all for their unmatched ferocity. These weren't just warriors, they were nightmares on horseback, tearing through enemies in ways that still send shivers down the spine. Comanche. The very mention of the Comanche tribe sent shivers down the spines of not only rival tribes, but even the earliest European settlers. Known as the Lords of the Plains, their name comes from the Ute word Comanche, which means someone who always wants to fight, or simply enemy. Their roots trace back to the Shoshone people, who once roamed the Great Basin in the western United States. Anthropologists note striking similarities between these tribes in language, culture, and lifestyle. The Comanche tongue belongs to the Uto-Aztecan language family, a group spanning much of the western North American tribes. The introduction of horses by European settlers, particularly the Spanish in the 16th century, would forever transform the Comanche way of life through trade with the Pueblo tribes, influenced by the Spanish and other plains tribes already in possession of horses. The Comanches acquired these animals in exchange for buffalo hides, captives, and other resources. What started as a simple adoption of a foreign species soon became the backbone of their unstoppable dominance. Horses turned the Comanches into master riders, enabling them to expand far beyond their ancestral Shoshone lands. The fertile plains of eastern Colorado and western Kansas, teeming with buffalo, became their hunting grounds. With horses, the Comanches achieved a level of horsemanship unmatched anywhere in the world. Riding was not just a skill, but a rite of passage. Children learned to mount and maneuver at a young age, while both men and women became daring, agile riders. The Comanches had an uncanny talent for taming wild horses. They would rope a horse by the neck, choke it until it fainted, then revive it with careful breaths into its nose. Once conscious, the horse was groomed, paired with a calm mare, and slowly introduced to human contact. After a few days, the horse would remain loyal, returning when called, ready to be ridden. To further train their mounts, Comanches led them through sandy creek beds or deep water, easing resistance and cushioning any missteps during wild rides. William Blakemore, an Englishman who lived among them for 8 years, captured the awe they inspired. On foot, slow and awkward, but on horseback graceful, they are the most expert and daring riders in the world. And when war came, the Comanches were terrifying. Charging with thunderous war cries, they would hide almost entirely behind their mounts, exposing only a foot to aim arrows or bullets with deadly precision over and under their horses' necks. Every warrior had a favorite war horse, reserved exclusively for battle, while women, equally fearless, rode into the hunt and roped buffalo with astonishing skill. As their mastery of horseback warfare grew, so did their power and reputation. The Comanches became infamous for their relentless raids, striking terror into the hearts of their enemies. Even the Spanish, after acquiring Louisiana from France, reported that no tribe rivaled the Comanches in horsemanship or fearlessness. Peace was rarely negotiated. They were bold, tenacious, and brutally efficient, killing settlers and resisting French, Spanish, and later American encroachment with unmatched ferocity. For nearly 50 years, their ferocity alone halted Spanish expansion. General James Wilkinson of the United States famously described them as the most formidable indigenous group on the continent. Initially dismissed as mere horse thieves, the Comanches' ruthlessness quickly gained legendary status. Their night raids, known among northern Spanish and Mexican settlers as the Comanche Moon, were nightmares in motion. Hundreds of Comanches would ride into settlements under the cover of darkness, massacring men, abducting women, and stealing horses. These horses were often sold back to the Spanish, the Mexican Empire, or American settlers. Despite their relatively modest population of roughly 40,000, each Comanche typically owned 2 to 3 horses, giving them immense mobility and striking power. Young warriors had to prove themselves repeatedly through raids, displaying their skill in killing and stealing to earn prestige, wealth, and respect within their bands. But it wasn't just their battlefield tactics that were terrifying. Comanche women were known for their merciless and ingenious methods of torture. To fall into their hands was to face unimaginable horrors. S.C. Gwynn, in Empire of the Summer Moon, wrote that no other tribe in the history of Spanish, French, Mexican, Texan, and American contact caused such widespread devastation. The Comanches were unmatched. Their raids followed a grim logic. Men were killed, captives tortured, women gang-raped, and children slaughtered. T.R. Fehrenbach, in Comanche, The History of a People, recounts the harrowing attack on the Parker family at Fort Parker in 1836. About 100 Comanche warriors approached the fort. A white flag was waved as a ruse, drawing Benjamin Parker outside, only for him to be surrounded and speared. The Comanches, charged with chilling war cries, slaughtering men, women, and children alike, leaving horrifying scenes of mutilation in their wake. Their methods of torture were as inventive as they were cruel. Captives were roasted alive, castrated, scalped, buried up to their chins under the sun, or staked over anthills. In some cases, prisoners were sewn into leather, left to suffocate as it dried and tightened around their bodies. Spanish reports detail the torment of Tonkawa captives: burning hands and feet until nerves were destroyed, repeated amputations, scalping, and even tongue removal. The Comanches' systematic cruelty was designed to terrorize and leave a lasting psychological mark on all who crossed their path. Yet, for all their brutality, the Comanches' skills, strategy, and unwavering courage made them one of the most formidable forces in North American history. They were not just warriors. They were masters of the plains, shapers of fear, and legends whose reputation echoed across continents. The Comanches didn't just fight for survival, they defined what it meant to be the most feared tribe in the Americas. Before we reveal the next fearsome tribe, smash that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking history. Seminole. The Seminole people, hailing from the wetlands and dense forests of Florida, were a force that few dared to challenge. Rising from the mixture of native Creek refugees and escaped African slaves, the Seminole formed a resilient and fiercely independent society that became synonymous with cunning warfare and unyielding resistance. Their homeland, the swampy, treacherous terrain of the Everglades and surrounding forests, provided both protection and a natural advantage, turning the Seminole into masters of ambush, stealth, and guerrilla tactics. The Seminoles' rise to prominence was fueled by their determination to resist outside control. Unlike many tribes who were gradually subdued by European settlers or neighboring powers, the Seminole waged a prolonged struggle against Spanish and later American expansion. From the early 1700s onward, they became legendary for their ability to vanish into the dense swamps, strike suddenly, and disappear again without a trace. Their intimate knowledge of the wetlands made them nearly untouchable. Even trained soldiers found themselves disoriented, vulnerable, and terrified in the labyrinth of waterways and hammocks the Seminole called home. Central to their military might was adaptability. Seminole warriors were adept with both traditional weapons, like bows and spears, and those introduced by Europeans, including rifles and muskets. They learned to combine these tools seamlessly with their environment, using the terrain to amplify their effectiveness. From hidden positions among thick cypress trees, they could rain arrows and bullets on their enemies, then retreat into the swamp before any counterattack could reach them. This hit-and-run style of warfare made them a nightmare for both Spanish colonists and U.S. troops, forcing even the most disciplined armies to adopt new strategies in response. The Seminole Wars, a series of brutal conflicts in the 18th and 19th centuries, showcased their formidable ferocity. In the First and Second Seminole Wars, they resisted U.S. attempts at removal with unmatched skill and tenacity. One of the most fearsome figures of this era was Chief Osceola, whose leadership turned small bands of warriors into strategic masters capable of striking much larger forces. Using deception, intimate knowledge of the swamp, and relentless ambushes, Osceola and his warriors inflicted heavy casualties on U.S. forces, demonstrating that sheer courage, cunning, and an unwillingness to surrender could overcome even the most organized military campaigns. Seminole warriors were also relentless in their psychological tactics. The sudden appearance of hidden fighters, followed by swift and precise attacks, created panic and confusion in enemy ranks. Captives and opponents often faced harsh reprisals, and the Seminole were known to employ intimidation and brutal measures to maintain dominance over their territories. The mix of African and native influences in their culture also contributed to a unique resilience and adaptability. Those who allied with the Seminole found a people unafraid to fight to the last man for freedom, land, and autonomy. What made the Seminole truly terrifying was their unity and ingenuity. Small groups could coordinate across difficult terrain, using smoke, fire, and intricate waterways to communicate and strike unexpectedly. This cohesion turned what outsiders might perceive as scattered bands into a tightly knit, disciplined resistance capable of confounding even professional armies. The swamp itself became a weapon, and the Seminole used it expertly, ensuring that any invasion of their territory was met with deadly, calculated response. Through centuries of struggle, the Seminole maintained their independence when many other tribes had been displaced or destroyed. Their story is one of resilience, intelligence, and ferocity. They weren't just fighters, they were masters of their environment, warriors who turned the land itself into a shield and sword, and a people whose legacy of fearlessness resonates through history. The Seminole didn't merely survive, they made their enemies fear every step they took, proving that courage, cunning, and relentless resolve could turn even the most challenging circumstances into a battlefield advantage. Iroquois Confederacy. The Iroquois Confederacy, also known as the Haudenosaunee or Six Nations, stands as one of the most powerful examples of indigenous political and military organization in North America. This formidable alliance was born from the collaboration of distinct tribes, the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca, each contributing its own strength to the Confederation. The Mohawk, stationed in the east, held strategic lands and were often the first to encounter European settlers. The Oneida, with roots near the Great Lakes, and the Onondaga, positioned in central New York, brought their own traditions and tactics to the Union. Farther west and south, the Cayuga and Seneca added even more depth and resilience, shaping an alliance that was nearly impossible to challenge. Interestingly, the name Iroquois was not their own. It was given to them by the Algonquin, a long-standing rival. The term meant rattlesnake, a fitting description for a people who could silently strike their enemies with devastating speed and deadly precision. By the time most could react, many warriors had already fallen. The Iroquois' reputation for stealth, coordination, and lethal efficiency made them feared across the region. From a young age, Iroquois children were groomed for war. Boys and girls alike trained with bows, arrows, spears, and clubs, learning the skills that would define their adulthood. By adolescence, they joined raids against rival tribes and occasionally European settlers, gaining first-hand experience in the art of battle. This early immersion in warfare forged a generation of fighters who were fearless, disciplined, and singularly focused on victory. Military prowess was more than survival. It was a pathway to respect and power. The most skilled warriors could rise to become war chiefs, commanding the loyalty and admiration of their people. The Iroquois also cultivated a reputation for terrifying treatment of their captives. Prisoners often endured the harrowing gauntlet, a ritual where they were forced to run between lines of Iroquois warriors armed with thorny branches, facing relentless blows. This practice not only demonstrated the Confederacy's military rigor, but also instilled fear in their enemies, ensuring that the Iroquois' name was synonymous with strength and unyielding discipline. During the 17th century, the Iroquois were embroiled in the brutal Beaver Wars, a series of campaigns aimed at expanding their influence and securing vital resources. They crushed rival tribes such as the Susquehannock in present-day Pennsylvania and dealt significant blows to the Huron around the Great Lakes. By the early 1700s, at the height of their power, the Iroquois controlled sprawling territories from the western lands to northern Michigan, reaching southward to the hills of Tennessee. Yet, what truly set the Iroquois apart was their remarkable unity. Despite the differences among the Six Nations, they maintained a cohesive confederation that could act decisively in times of conflict. This solidarity was famously demonstrated during the French and Indian War, when all Iroquois nations aligned with the British, proving that strength is not only in numbers or skill, but in loyalty and collective purpose. As an ancient proverb aptly suggests, a threefold cord is not quickly broken, and the Iroquois Confederacy was a living testament to this truth. Feared, disciplined, and extraordinarily strategic, the Iroquois Confederacy carved a place in history not just as warriors, but as architects of one of the most successful alliances among indigenous peoples in North America. Their legacy is a reminder that unity, training, and tactical brilliance can turn even a small number of people into an unstoppable force. Before we dive into the next tribe, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. The Sioux, particularly the Lakota branch, were among the most feared and respected tribes of the Great Plains. Known for their unparalleled horsemanship, fierce warrior culture, and unwavering resolve, the Lakota dominated vast stretches of land from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. Their name, Lakota, meaning allies or friends, belied the deadly reputation they carried across the plains. Few dared to oppose them, and many who did paid a terrible price. The Lakota's rise to power was closely tied to their mastery of the horse. Introduced to the plains by European settlers, horses transformed Lakota society. They became lightning-fast riders, capable of pursuing buffalo herds, scouting enemy positions, and launching sudden, devastating attacks. Lakota children learned to ride almost as soon as they could walk. And from a young age, boys were trained in the arts of warfare, hunting, and survival. The horse was more than a tool. It was a symbol of status, skill, and power, and a warrior's reputation was measured by his prowess in riding, hunting, and combat. The Lakota were masters of mobility and surprise. In battle, they could appear from nowhere, riding at full gallop to strike enemy camps with precision, then vanish into the horizon before a counterattack could be mounted. Their skill with the bow, spear, and later rifles was legendary. Arrows and bullets flew with deadly accuracy from horseback, often striking enemies before they even realized they were under attack. This combination of speed, skill, and strategy made them nearly invincible on the plains. The Sioux were also strategic tacticians, often using terrain to their advantage. Rolling hills, river valleys, and open prairies were not obstacles but tools, perfect for ambushes, flanking maneuvers, and trapping invading forces. They coordinated attacks with meticulous precision, using signals and scouts to outmaneuver larger, better-equipped armies. European and American soldiers who faced them often admitted that the Lakota's knowledge of the land and unconventional tactics made them a nightmare to confront. Beyond their battlefield prowess, the Lakota were known for their fearless warrior code. Courage, honor, and personal skill were the pillars of their society, and young men proved themselves through acts of bravery in hunting and combat. Captives and enemies were often treated harshly, a testament to the Lakota's strict warrior ethos. The Lakota thrived in an environment of constant challenge, where survival demanded both physical skill and strategic cunning. One of the most infamous displays of their ferocity was during the Red Cloud's War, 1866 to 1868, and later conflicts with the U.S. Army. Led by chiefs like Red Cloud and Sitting Bull, the Lakota inflicted staggering losses on soldiers, demonstrating that determination, knowledge, and unity could overwhelm even the most advanced military forces. At the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876, Lakota warriors, alongside their allies, delivered a crushing defeat to General Custer's 7th Cavalry, a moment that cemented their reputation across the continent. The Lakota were not merely fighters, they were strategists, defenders of their people, and masters of psychological warfare, using fear as a weapon as effectively as arrows or bullets. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, the Lakota never surrendered easily. Their resilience, ferocity, and intimate knowledge of the plains made them one of the most formidable Native American tribes in history. They weren't just survivors, they were warriors whose skill, courage, and relentless determination struck fear into anyone who dared challenge them. The Lakota legacy is a testament to the power of unity, strategy, and unyielding spirit, proving that true ferocity lies not just in weapons, but in the mind, heart, and will of a people. Apache. The Apache were a fierce and adaptable people belonging to the southern branch of the Athabascan group. Their languages stretched across a vast expanse, from Alaska and Western Canada all the way down to the American Southwest. Different Apache bands roamed an immense territory, spanning from the Arkansas River to northern Mexico, and from central Texas to central Arizona. Surrounded by powerful empires and rival tribes, the Spanish, Comanche, Ute, and later American forces, the Apache not only survived but thrived, mastering the art of resilience in the harshest of landscapes. Life in rugged, unforgiving terrain shaped the Apache into experts of mobile guerrilla warfare. Armed with traditional bows and later rifles introduced by Europeans, these warriors became legends of speed, stealth, and precision. It was said that Apache horsemen could fire multiple arrows in a single volley while galloping at full speed, striking fear into anyone who faced them. Their survival depended on their mastery of concealment and surprise, skills that made them virtually untouchable. Apache fighters could vanish into the landscape, only to reappear moments later to deliver deadly attacks before melting back into the wilderness. Raiding was the heartbeat of Apache warfare. They could traverse vast distances with astonishing speed, on horseback or on foot, striking targets far from their own homes and disappearing before enemies had time to react. They were highly adaptive, seamlessly integrating Spanish horses and steel weapons into their tactics. Lances, knives, and firearms all became tools in the Apache arsenal, each wielded with deadly efficiency. Their ability to combine agility, strategy, and the advantages of new technology turned them into one of the most formidable tribes in North America. General George Crook, who fought against them in the late 19th century, famously described the Apaches as the tigers of the human race, a fitting tribute to their unmatched endurance, speed, and relentless ferocity. On foot, they could outrun cavalry, and their knowledge of the terrain made them near impossible to track. In battle, their archery skills were legendary, releasing 7 arrows in the air before the first even touched the ground, leaving enemies in awe and terror. But the Apaches were not only experts in warfare, they were feared for their ruthlessness. Captives faced horrifying fates. Enemies were skinned or burned alive, while the children of adversaries often suffered gruesome deaths. Among the Apache, inventiveness and cruelty was highly esteemed. Anyone who devised a new method of punishing captives was honored for their ingenuity in terror. This combination of strategic brilliance, lethal efficiency, and uncompromising ferocity made the Apache a tribe that inspired both awe and dread across the Southwest. In every sense, the Apache were more than warriors. They were survivalists, tacticians, and masters of fear whose legacy of agility, cunning, and relentless prowess left an indelible mark on history. To sum it all up, these tribes carved their names into history as warriors whose skill, strategy, and sheer ferocity struck fear into the hearts of all who crossed their paths. Their stories are a testament to courage, cunning, and the relentless spirit of people who would never back down. Share your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories from history. You won't want to miss what's coming next.